Hey everybody, happy Saturday. Hope this podcast finds you well. My name's Andy Herman. Thanks so much for joining me every day here at the Pack-A-Day Podcast on YouTube. We're getting ready for Packers-Falcons on Monday Night Football. A lot of injuries are going to play a major part in this game. I'm going to cover that tomorrow when we get our final injury report from Saturday. But I have a couple housekeeping items that I want to get to kick things off today. First and foremost, the Pack-A-Day Podcast just celebrated its 800th episode. I could not be more proud of the entire team of individuals that puts out a brand new podcast every single day, 800 episodes strong. We've been doing this over 2 years now, and it's just such an incredible group of people, from the people who started with me from the beginning, some who are no longer on the team anymore, who have gone on to greener pastures, which is really one of the goals of the podcast, is to get people exposure, and hopefully they continue to grow as time goes on. And then the people who have come along the way, started and are still with me. It's just such an incredible team, and I give so much credit to them. I get way too much credit for what I do. Those guys bring their A game every single day, especially what they did during a pandemic when there was certainly times and dead periods where there wasn't a ton to talk about. Those guys came up with some of the best, most unique, creative content. If you've never checked out the Pack-A-Day Podcast, the elongated version, the audio version, make sure to check it out because those guys are killing it every single day. And I just wanted to start today by thanking them, thanking you as well, the listener, who have been a big part of this as well. The podcast has just been such a tremendous success. We get such tremendous feedback, and I can't thank you guys enough, and I can't thank the team enough. So really cool that we just got to celebrate 800 episodes. Next housekeeping item, Dusty Evely just posted a video of him breaking down film from Saints-Packers. I'm hoping to post more of these in the future. I'm hoping he's going to allow us to do that because he's just such a brilliant mind when it comes to breaking down film. One of my absolute favorite people to follow. One of my absolute favorite people, period. So make sure to check that out. He just absolutely did a tremendous job on PackerReport.com breaking down film. He does it on Cheesehead TV. He's a little bit of everywhere, so blessed that he was able to share that video here on the YouTube channel. If you haven't checked it out yet, make sure to check it out as soon as we are done here because, again, he just does such a tremendous job, and I'm going to shout him out as well. Make sure to follow him on Twitter at Dusty Evely. My main topic today, however, is Brian Gutekunst's most underrated free agent signing. We all know the Smiths and Adrian Amos. Rick Wagner, even though he's not starting right now, seems to be quite the value free agent signing that he picked up this year. But I think maybe the player who really flies under the radar that Brian Gutekunst did a great job in picking up is Marcedes Lewis. And this was an interesting player because his first free agent class, let's be fair, he's done a lot of great things. His first free agent class was basically a bust. Jimmy Graham, major bust. Muhammad Wilkerson, major bust. Byron Bell was terrible at right guard. Still probably, I have to look back, but probably my lowest graded Packer in a season ever. Just was awful. All right. Just a lot of things that did not turn out in that initial free agency class. But Marcedes Lewis has turned out over time. And I say that because if you go back to Marcedes Lewis's time with Mike McCarthy, that free agent signing didn't exactly turn out the best either. Now, a big piece of that is because Mike McCarthy didn't use him. And that was the biggest reason why Marcedes Lewis wasn't a good free agent signing in that first year. And it was interesting because, you know, we all knew kind of at that time that Lewis didn't have much more to give as a receiving threat. And he was primarily a blocking tight end. And everyone was talking about him, even that first season in Green Bay, as this great blocking tight end. Well, he did not block well at all in that first season in Green Bay with Mike McCarthy. And I was talking about that, and this is why Aaron Nagler is so good at what he does. I was talking about that at the time to Aaron Nagler, saying, like, you know, he's getting all this credit as being a great blocking tight end, and he's not. Anytime he's in the game, he's blowing a block. And Aaron, in his wisdom, points out and says, well, yeah, but he's playing about one every 15 to 20 snaps. And he's 1,000,000% right. Mike McCarthy never used him with any sort of regularity or consistency. He would get literally one snap, and then that would be it for about 20 plays. Maybe he'd come in for another couple snaps in the third quarter that would, again, be separated out. He was never on the field for like back-to-back snaps. He never got in any rhythm. He barely played any snaps that entire season. So you can forgive a guy for maybe not having his A game when you bring him in cold off the bench for the first time in the second quarter, expect him to go out and block a defensive lineman or outside linebacker, get one play, and then you don't see him again for another couple quarters. And that's exactly what happened with Marcedes Lewis back in 2018. And when Brian Gutekunst brought him back in 2019, I was kind of questioning things, saying, all right, he didn't have anything in the tank a season ago. When he did get in the game, he didn't do much. Well, Marcedes Lewis emerged in this Matt LaFleur offense as a major factor for this offense because of his blocking. And all of those things that people said about Marcedes Lewis being such a great blocking tight end showed themselves in 2019. And he was so ridiculously good in that season. And it actually seemed like he got stronger as the season went along and finished the season really well, positive grades, and I think his last 5 games, if I remember correctly. And then he has now started the season back-to-back-to-back positive grades, all +0.5 or better, and he's just on an absolute tear. And then this last week, he goes out and he has the jump ball touchdown, gets in the end zone. Of course, famously, now Aaron Rodgers has 2 touchdown passes to first-round draft picks, both Marcedes Lewis. But you can see that he has a very important role in this offense. And I just want to break down like a couple of plays here. There have been multiple plays on tape in the first few weeks of the season where he is legitimately blocking an edge rusher one-on-one and holding up at the point of attack. There's a play that people were highlighting with David Bakhtiari pass protecting for about 10-12 seconds on a play, giving Aaron Rodgers time. On the other side of the field was Marcedes Lewis blocking an edge rusher for the same amount of time, one-on-one. He legit looks like an offensive tackle at times with his blocking ability. And it is incredible that you are able to walk out there with a tight end and he's able to hold up at the point of attack one-on-one against edge rushers, outside linebackers, defensive ends. It doesn't matter. Does he miss from time to time? Yes, he does. But the fact that he has the level of consistency that he does as a blocking tight end is nothing short of extraordinary, especially with the point where he is at in his career. It's not exactly like he's this young player anymore. So he has been fantastic. He's been even better through the first few games of this season. He seemingly is not aging. Unfortunately, he's on the injury report this week and has missed the last couple of days of practice with a knee injury. Hopefully, he's able to practice on Saturday and get in the game on Monday because he is a big part of this Packers offense. We already know the wide receiver concerns. We don't need to add tight end concerns on top of that. Hopefully, not only can Marcedes Lewis play, but hopefully they'll have their full group of tight ends and running backs and everyone else maybe besides that wide receiver position. Josiah DeGuara is somebody who practiced on Friday, so hopefully he's able to come back too. But I'm really liking this group of tight ends. Josiah DeGuara, Jay Sternberger, Robert Tonyan, and Marcedes Lewis. They're really starting to come together as a group and really provide different levels of what Matt LaFleur wants to do. But Marcedes Lewis bringing his A-plus game as a pass blocker and as a run blocker, that has a ton of effect on both Aaron Rodgers and on Aaron Jones. Listen, the rest of this offense should be set up, and the players should be hoping that they can do their part so that Rodgers, Jones, and Adams can be successful. And we've seen bits and pieces of that with what some of these players are able to do. Tyler Ervin going on jet sweeps and just bringing motion so that Aaron Jones can have additional running space in the middle of the field. It just brings the linebackers' eyes a different spot. Josiah DeGuara brings a lot of that versatility. Marcedes Lewis, his blocking, again, both in run blocking and in pass protection, gives both of those guys a better opportunity, as well as Devontae Adams on the outside. MVS, a player last week who did not grade very well, had 1 catch, I think on 4 or 5 targets. It doesn't look good on paper, but when you watch him take 2 players deep down the field because they know they have to keep an eye on him because of his speed and his playmaking ability, that opens things underneath. That helps out Devontae Adams. That helps out the rest of this tight end and running back group. So this is a very complementary offense right now, and these players like Marcedes Lewis, who are bringing the value that they are, even without stuffing the stat sheet or stuffing the box score. It's just been a really fun thing to watch. So one of the most underrated signings of the Brian Gutekunst era so far, certainly Marcedes Lewis, who got back-to-back contracts with Gutekunst, and it's played off really well so far. That does it for me today. If you did not know, if you want to check out the Pack-A-Day podcast, you can actually ask Alexa to play the Pack-A-Day podcast, and she will do so. So you can make sure to do that there as well. Otherwise, you can always get it wherever you get your favorite podcast. I will see you tomorrow. In the meantime, as always, go Pack-Go.